Hello everybody, I am the investigator and welcome back to Angels with Scaly Wings. So we're still in chapter 2 and it's time, we have some free time now and we're going to spend it with Bryce. Since I was not able to upload that one that I already did, I doubt we're going to go have another drinking contest, which I definitely won. But let's meet with Bryce. Hey Traveler, good to see you. Thanks for the invitation, you too, your face. Thanks for the invitation. No need to be so formal. Sure, I'm the chief, but here I'm just Bryce. Wait a minute, something seems different here. What do you mean? Oh, that's it, we're both sober. I thought we weren't going to mention that. Right. Don't mind the chaos, this is just a temporary arrangement. Has that Scott always been there? I think so. He let me inside and motioned to the couch. When I took a seat and looked around, I realized that his apartment was obviously designed with only a single person in mind. Some days all you can do is be glad they're over. Long day at work? You know how it is at the police department, especially with everything going on. Is this a bad time for me to visit? Hey, things are pretty overwhelming for me too. Being an emissary is no joke. How many dead have you found so far? Yeah, it's a better. Heck no. I could use some good company right now. But what do you usually do for fun in your world? Read, meet with friends, spend time outside, work out. Meet with friends? Right with you on that one. How about you? Different things. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know how it is. That's not very specific. Alright, I'll show you something, but promise you won't laugh, okay? Sure. Good. He went to a shelf on the far side of the room and picked up a long object, carrying it in his maw as he returned to the table before me and gently sat down. It was a wooden model ship. From first appearances, I guess it was a child's first attempt at assembling a model. While the shape was recognizable, there were art pieces jutting out or not fitting together properly. In some places, globs of dried glue remained from excessive use. Who's the Parkinson's afflicted gent who did this? What's this? Looks nice. That is just rude as hell. Looks nice. You don't need to lie to me. I know fully well that what it looks like, but that's not the point. Even though I try, I don't always make the best decisions. I know I'm not the most patient person. But in my line of work, you never know what they're gonna throw at you next. So you always have to be prepared. You can't have any exploitable weaknesses. And of course, I want to be fit for duty. As a chief, people look up to me, so I have to be my best at all times. We can both tell the model is not very good. I don't really have the patience or the dexterity for it. But I tried my hand at this to get better. Sure, it took me way longer than it should have, and my claws were covered in glue for a week afterwards. But you know, these models aren't even intended for us. They're made for runners like Sebastian who have the proper hands to do that stuff. Although the ship isn't much, but it's something. And maybe, if I keep trying, I'll get better. Wait a minute, you have ships? Not in this town, but yeah, we have ships alright. Why does that surprise you? I just find it interesting because where I come from, we also have vehicles for land and air travel. Well, some of us can fly, and some of us can run well, but none of us can swim beyond the seas. Do you even have different continents? Not that I know of. You'd probably have to ask someone who knows more about our world than I do. How can you not know about something like that? Well, we do get the occasional explorer who ventures out into uncharted seas, but I don't really keep track of that kind of thing. Would you want to visit if they ever found one? I can't say that I don't find the thought exciting, but in the end, I've got my people here and they need their chief. Maybe you could take a vacation and see what's out there. Ha! If I ever have time for that, maybe. Can you swim? Not particularly well. You may have noticed I'm not exactly streamlined. Don't worry, fat floats on board. You're the pinnacle of masculinity. Glad you think so. These muscles are the result of years of hard work. Alright, put your hand on my forearm. Don't you technically have 4 legs? I guess, but it's easy to say forearm than specifying the upper part of my foreleg. Besides, using the word leg might get misinterpreted. That might make you think of my thigh, and that would be something else entirely. Not that I mind grabbing your thigh. I wouldn't mind touching you there. Not that I mind. Is that so? Well, let's just keep it to the arm for now. I placed my hand on the upper part of his foreleg, somewhat surprised at the warmth radiating from his scales. I hope you're ready because here I go. His forearm shifted, the shape of his muscle changing as they became more defined. In a moment, they were firm and bulging, his scales flaring under the stress and looking as though they might pop off at any moment. It reminded me of a flexing bodybuilder in a skin-tight Lycra suit. After a few seconds, his muscles relaxed and regained their former shape. See, that's what I'm talking about. Color me impressed. Flex your own beauty muscles. What a waste of time. Flex. You think you're the only one who can do that? Just take a look at this. Ha! I rolled up my sleeves and flexed my arms, showing off from the best angle as I struck a pose. Nice try, buddy, but I still don't think you want to arm wrestle with me. It's too bad that all those muscles couldn't help you when Razor got away and you got stuck on those stairs. Hey, that wasn't my fault. It was the damn stairs. Speaking of which, this whole case has been completely insane. As always, a step behind Razor and Maverick, running around trying to catch him himself. I wonder what he's been up to. Maverick? Yeah. We had an interesting conversation not too long ago. What? When exactly was that? When I went into town to check your list of places Razor had been to. How come you didn't say anything about that before? I didn't think there was anything worth mentioning. It was a pretty one-sided conversation anyway. Alright, maybe you should start from the beginning. I don't want to say he's crazy, but I have no idea what he's talking about. Me neither. You know, next time you should let the police decide whether something like that is worth mentioning or not. Why did you not tell us about this again? I thought it was just Maverick being Maverick. He's not normally like that. I don't get it. Why has he been acting like that? Do you think he's on something? Do you think he's onto something? I don't know, but there must be a reason behind his behavior. Maybe he's just crazy. Maybe this is just a misunderstanding. Maybe he's right about Razor. You think so? Considering everything that's happened so far, it's possible. That would put you in a very bad position. I know, but if it was him, I can't change what he's done. I can only try to help you as much as possible. I'm just thinking out loud, but Razor was the first of your kind to come here. He arranged the generator and PDA trade, and then you came through the portal to deliver your part of the deal. Did your people have any goals or long-term plans for us, or was this exchange going to be a one-off thing? It was supposed to be a scouting mission more than anything, a test to see if this kind of business relationship could work out, and if it did, it would make humanity very happy. Things aren't looking good on that front right now though. But yeah, that's another reason why I'm helping you. However this whole thing turns out, no matter what happens, I've got your back, okay? Likewise. Now that's the spirit. Hey, I'm gonna grab myself a beer. You want one? I thought we didn't want to get drunk again. No thanks. Sure. I hate beer, but sure. Alright. Bryce got up and left through one of the doors to fetch his beer, leaving me alone in the room. Rate, examine the blanket, look at the magazines on the coffee table, stretch your legs a bit. Rollers proclaimed the magazine's title as Universal Fitness, its models on the cover catching my eye with their confident and athletic poses. Headlines like stronger, thicker tales and amazing tips for burning passion gave me an indication of its topics. Curiosity got the best of me, and I found myself staring at the first double page, which profiled the athlete of the month. It was accompanied by a range of pictures showing off the athlete's body from different angles and a number of poses. You looked at Bryce's magazine's research material. When I heard the door creak open, I quickly put the magazine back on the table before Bryce lumbered back into sight. He had the handle of a beer-filled basket clumped in his maw. He carefully set the basket on the coffee table and took out the beers one by one. Once he was done, he swatted the empty basket into a far corner. Help yourself if you like. Bryce's store-bought beer looked very different from what I'd seen in the bar. They were presented in large plastic bowls that were sealed at the top, reminding me of yogurt containers. He broke the seal on one of the containers with his claw and proceeded to drink it noisily. Sweet, sweet nectar. Always does its job. You know, you can keep looking at the magazine if you want. Not surprised you'd be curious. Hey, I'm not the one who bought it. You didn't mind looking when you had the opportunity. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Let me guess, you only buy it for the articles. Believe it or not, but the fitness tips are actually pretty good. The pictures are just a bonus. Can I ask you something? Go for it. Please don't take this the wrong way, but I watched how you carry the beer. I was going to ask how you do daily tasks like shopping, for example, but I guess those baskets are your best friends. That's just how we do things around here. Not sure why that's so special to you. That makes me wonder, how can you use your forelegs well enough? I know you can use your forelegs well enough for things, but what about your hind legs? Can you walk on those? Good question. If you're just talking about my species, some of us can, at least a little. But me, I probably wouldn't be able to take more than 2 steps that way. Interesting. Maybe that's something I should practice as well. It'd be a good exercise in discipline. Regardless, I wouldn't be part of any competition anytime soon. You have competitions? Oh yes. Each species gets their own athletic competition with a few events every other year. That sounds fun. Ever thought of joining in? It's not really my kind of thing. I mean, it's always just about who's the best and the strongest and who has the biggest muscles and all that. I'm not into that whole competitive lifestyle. And some of those events can be a bit dangerous. One accident and it could be all over for me as chief. That sounds rough. What kind of competitions do you have? They usually highlight the individual species' strengths and abilities. We get to do strength-based stuff. The flyers get to fly, the runners get to run, and so on. Speaking of which, it's kind of funny just how upright you are when you move. The runners lean forward and use their big tails for balance, whereas you have yours tucked into whatever that is you're wearing. Actually, we don't have tails. Are you kidding me? Not at all. Seriously? Everything alive has a tail. How can you just not have one? Evolution. I don't think that one's entirely accurate, but evolution. Guess you're robbed of more than just your fur. But tails are wonderful. Just look at mine. That's a pretty wicked weapon right there. And you just have nothing? Can't help it. You know what? I don't believe you. I'm not sure I can make this any more clear. Show me. Okay. Alright, here goes nothing. I can't believe it. You really don't have a tail. Told you so. Why do you cover it all up anyway? It's a human thing. We usually don't show our bodies to strangers. So, friends are fine? That would be an unusual friendship. Let's just say that displaying that area would usually imply more. Is that so? Okay, we've got tails covered, but what about wings? I don't think we can call those little things on my back wings. But what are they then? Articulated pieces of armor, I guess. Can you flap them? I can try. Bryce got up on all fours, grounding his body in preparation for what was to come. His face contorted into a grimace as his upper body strained. He held the pose for a few seconds, but nothing happened except for his continuous groan of effort. Then suddenly his wings started to move. Slowly at first, they swayed up and down. They gradually picked up speed and moved with a rhythm that could rightfully be called flapping. It reminded me of pigeons I often saw back home. After holding it for a few seconds, he breathed a sigh of relief as he relaxed and the flapping motion stopped again. A single bead of sweat rolled down the side of his face as he looked at me panting. That was awesome. Can you do it again? I wasn't looking. You didn't even take off. That was awesome. Yeah, that was certainly a first. Too bad they don't have any flapping competitions for my species. That was exhausting. Just the right time for a beer. Stop him, do nothing. Ask him if he really should have another. Should you have another beer? Why? Did you want the last one? We can share. No, but you said there was more to you than getting drunk, and this is your third one already. If you say it like that, you make me sound like an alcoholic or something. I just forgot, okay? Okay. So I've been wondering, what does it take for someone to become humanity's ambassador? I'm still not quite sure how I ended up here. I guess in my case, it was a combination of the right degrees, volunteering, and a great deal of luck. But what kind of job did you have before that? Were you like a politician or a diplomat or what? Actually, I was none of those things. Raised it maybe, but certainly not me. I guess it's not like you needed ambassadors to represent humanity before, right? That makes this whole process a first. Unless you had aliens show up at your place before. It's funny that you say that, because for a while there actually was speculation that you were aliens. Where it's not like we fly around in spaceships or anything. Strictly speaking, the word alien refers to any form of life that doesn't originate from our own planet. So that makes us aliens to each other, huh? Well, I'm not sure that would be a good descriptor for your kind. Oh, why not? Let's just say that where I come from, the word often carries negative connotations with it. That's no good. What does that make us then? I don't know. Maybe we'll have to make up a new word for sentient civilized dragons. What do you think about us humans anyway? I know many others have their own ideas of what humans are or what they're supposed to be. I'm not buying into all that, so I'll just take it as it is. And how is it? Well, you've been interesting enough so far, and Razor, I'm reserving judgment on that one. It's funny to see people talking about humans all the time and what your presence can mean, while I'm one of the few who's actually gotten to meet you and knows what you're like. And people still don't know about Razor. That'll certainly be interesting. What do you think will happen once the truth what do you think will happen when the truth gets out about him? I'm accepting it. Moving forward. I'll start worrying about that once we know what the truth actually is. Good point. You work with the police long enough, you learn not to have any preconceived notions about such things. Take things as they are and do what's necessary. I imagine you've seen many things, Chief. I certainly have. They're usually not the kind of thing I should tell people about them. Why not? I'm not sure how it's done where you're from, but here people usually don't like me telling them about the horrible things I see at work. Can't be that bad. You have no idea. Man, look at the time. We spent all afternoon talking. Guess I should be heading back to my apartment. You know, a few friends and I do this barbecue thing every year, and it's going to be pretty soon. You want to come? Sure, that sounds fun. Alright, I'll call you later with the details. Can you find your way out? Yeah. See you soon then. See you. Nothing around today? Guess I can do whatever. I still have time, so Let's do Lorem. I don't remember which one Lorem was. I went to the bar Lorem had suggested as our meeting place. When I looked around, I saw Bryce sitting at a table, talking to someone I couldn't see. I lingered on him for a second, but soon spied Lorem in the corner of my eye. Oh, this guy. There you are. What was his voice? What voice did I give him? I don't remember what voice I gave him. There you are. Hi, Lorem. It's good to see you too. I thought you might not show up. Am I late? Not at all. I got here early. I'm kind of surprised you wanted to meet me here. Don't take this the wrong way, but are you even old enough to drink? What are you talking about? Oh, I see. I can assure you I am a fully grown adult. My species doesn't get much bigger than this. Speaking of which, are you fully grown yet? How big do humans usually get? And how do you stack up comparatively speaking? Oh, and would you mind if I took some notes? Before we get to that, you haven't told me yet what exactly all this is for. Are you sure you're not a reporter? If I was, Sebastian wouldn't have let me meet you in the first place. And I thought the uniform was just a clever disguise. It's real though. Sebastian knows I work for the local post office. Excuse me, but this still doesn't really tell me anything about why I'm here. You're a postman who wants to interview me for what exactly? Sorry, I guess I got ahead of myself here. Maybe a full introduction is in order, and after that you can still decide whether you want to go through with this or not. Sure, sounds good to me. I recently graduated college with a degree in computing and moved in here with a good friend of mine. This town doesn't exactly offer the best opportunities to put my degree to good use though. Sorry, just stop learning about it. Then why move here in the first place? Living in the city can be very expensive. I can always move later when I get a job there. I've got other plans right now though. I'm working on a video game. That's what this is about, a video game? Oh, you said this was going to be something serious. A game? Sounds interesting. Exactly! Video games and computers are just starting to catch on in places like this town. Making good content will be very important to give a good first impression. And humans have always been part of our media. Books, movies, and now games. With you on our side, this could be an amazing opportunity. Well... Oh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. You're right about that, kid. Why? I don't know. You don't seem so thrilled about doing this anymore. Besides, your job must be really stressful. And you're probably already in the spotlight all the time. And now to top it all off, you've got some postman harassing you for an interview. If you wanted to leave, I'd get that. Well, I'm here already. And I have nothing else to do, so let's make the most of this. I'm accepting what I said. Yes! Thank you! At least I won't have to be so careful now. With a reporter, I'd have to worry about things being misinterpreted or being taken out of context. You should still be careful. What you tell me will now will influence how your entire species will be represented in my game. Don't worry though, I'll treat this delicate matter with the required finesse. Don't get ahead of yourself, we haven't even started yet. I'm sure of it. How should we do this? Let me think. Why do you want to make this game in the first place? I've always wanted to make a video game. I've had this idea for a while, and it seems now is the right time to do it. It's almost as if you arrived at the perfect moment. I don't know. Don't you think my visit will overshadow your efforts? People may not be so interested in playing a game about humans anymore if they had a real one show up. Good point. But the vast majority won't get to meet you personally. Anyway. If I say I did and model the humans in the game after you, people will flock to it and get similar experience. Does that mean I'm going to be your game's mascot? So I'm going to be part of your viral marketing campaign. Great. As long as it's based on the truth, you have my support. So I'm going to be your game's mascot? I guess you could say so. Okay, but why? Okay, but why focus on humans? What makes us so important? If there's one thing people here love, it's humans. It doesn't matter if they just see them in the media or believe in them as mythical creatures. For me, humans were always real. I just didn't know whether I'd ever get the chance to meet one myself. I guess I can cross that one off my bucket list. Now that we're here, I can tell you that no expense will be spared to make our portrayal of humans as accurate as possible. You certainly seem passionate enough about this. Those are some messed up priorities. I'm with you on this. For good reason. I just love humans. If you say it like that, it actually ends up sounding pretty weird. Besides, what if I turn out to be a horrible person? What would you think about humans then? It wouldn't change anything. Besides, I wouldn't base my opinion off an entire species on interaction with a single individual. Then what's your current opinion of us based on? Just the mess we have, and the previous portrayals of humans in our media. But I suppose that's why I'm here talking with you right now. I want the truth, and all of it. Telling you all of it might not be such a good idea. Oh yeah, I guess that would take a lot more time than we have today. Anyways, what's the actual game about? What do you do? It's a community simulation game. It all starts with the player character moving into a procedurally generated community, which is inhabited by all kinds of mythical creatures, humans included. Mythical creatures like humans. I just got the point there. Not only are the towns you move into unique, but the inhabitants are too. There are a variety of traits and they get randomized, both in looks and personality. There are many things you can do, but it's very open-ended, and you can live your life there however you want to. That sounds interesting. That sounds like my kind of game, actually. Oh, really? I couldn't ask for a better compliment than that. What other mythical creatures are there besides humans? I haven't worked that out yet, but humans alone give us a lot of material to work with. How so? The question of the mythical human can be tackled in a variety of ways. There are many different interpretations of what humans are like. For example, in general, the mythical human can be divided into three categories. Firstly, the humans as a physical creature. Secondly, the human as a non-physical entity. And thirdly, the human as a spiritual being. Let's start with the physical aspects. Sure, since one of our myths tells us that the humans who created us eventually turned into a dragon, there's a lot of room for interpretation as to how similar humans actually are to dragons. I can see you don't have rings, but most of us are capable to create fire in some way, or at least have a breath weapon. How about you? I don't have a breath weapon unless you count my morning breath. I can rub two sticks together and make a fire. Does that count? Of course, I can move things with my mind. No, I can't. Not really. Having hands that are dexterous enough to do that is remarkable, though. It is a bit strange, though, because our myths also say that you gave that ability to us. Interesting. Maybe it's meant to be taken literally, meaning that when that ability was given to us, you lost it. Or maybe we never had it in the first place. Humans are known to have created a lot of things out of nothing. After all, we only needed to discover how to create and use fire, because we didn't have a natural ability to do so. We have a proverb that sums up this up pretty well. What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. So a lack of natural abilities drove innovation forward. What an interesting thought. Here's another thing. You may have many different images of humans, but in the end, only one can be right. It's also possible that what you have been led to believe about humans doesn't actually refer to us at all. Are you implying that you aren't human? No. I'm just saying that if you really had been in contact with humans before, as your myths imply, they would need to belong to the same species as me, and thus be very similar to myself. If they aren't, then either they weren't humans at all, or have very different origins. So you say there's a possibility that our humans and your humans may be something different altogether? I suppose you're right in the way that our images of humans are very inconsistent. They certainly count all the humans in the way that we would refer to a single species. The name should probably be reserved for yours. And we haven't even touched on the other two categories of humans. What did you call them again? Non-physical entities and spiritual humans. What's the difference? Honestly, the definitions get a bit muddled here. But going by conventional belief, a ghost can be called a human who has died and thus changed into a different form. We call this a spiritual human. That makes sense. An angel, on the other hand, would be classified as a non-physical entity. That also makes sense. What do you know about angels? Angels basically look like humans with wings. Their existence in ancient scripts was used to lend some credence to the theories about humans having become dragons. Because of the wings? Exactly. But some of your dragon species don't have wings either. Yes, as I said, once you start delving into that kind of stuff, it all becomes very convoluted. When we met, you also told me something about a four-headed human. Right. With that, we'd get into the realm of creatures that just don't make much sense at all. Having four heads just seems unlikely from an evolutionary perspective. That might not really matter if we were talking about a non-physical entity or a spiritual being though. So in the end, you have a lot of different ideas whose only connection to each other is that you use the word human to describe them in some way. And they share at least some basic characteristics. You fit those as well, by the way. What are they? You certainly are not a reptile like us, but you don't look like a conventional mammal either. We are mammals though. Yes, but you are so different from other mammals that we know that. Ultimately, you are quite unique. We don't know any other sentient mammals. You've got a point there, I'll give you that. Strangely enough, we have plenty of non-human-like creatures in our mythologies as well. Oh, do tell! You already mentioned ghosts, but some other ones include dwarves, giants, fairies, and blemmies. Gonna have to look that one up. No idea what blemmy is, or if I even pronounced it correctly. I think I've heard of most of those before, but what is a blemmy? Oh, I don't have to. Essentially, a blemmy is a human without a head. Oh, so like the Headless Horseman. Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow, yeah, that's it. A human without a head? How does that work? How do they eat? Instead of a head, they just have all their facial features on their chest. Oh. Okay, so not like... That's a rather weird mental image. Yeah, it is. There are also a lot of half-creatures that share some characteristics with humans and other animals. Like mere humans? Sure. Lastly, there are creatures that are said to be able to shapeshift into human form. Strangely enough, some of our dragon myths said that they could shapeshift into humans or that certain countries' royalty are descended from dragons. That would imply that they are genetically compatible with humans. Apparently. Sounds rather outlandish if you ask me. We certainly can't shapeshift like that. I suppose that's why they're just myths. Right. To be fair, we do have a lot of myths that seem quite out there as well, compared to what you're like. Anyway, how come you know so much about myths? All part of being an ambassador. Not only did I learn about the dragon myths in order to compare them to what you're like, but I also studied myths about creatures that are similar to humans so I could find out how similar they were to yours. Well, you're doing an excellent job so far, and it's bound to help me with my game as well. You're going to put a lot of that into the game? Let's just say it gives me some excellent material to work with. I thought you wanted to give an accurate portrayal of humans such as collect myths. One species will certainly be modeled after you, but that doesn't mean we can't introduce some variety to the others. People will love it if we also bring some of the more unusual myths to life. I see. But since we also want each of the normal human characteristics to be unique, I'd like to know how much variety there really is within your species. I've seen Razor before, so comparing him to you already gives me a bit of an idea. But how far do those differences go exactly? When we arrived, you asked me if I was old enough to drink. That leads me to believe that your average human must be a lot taller. That's true. You could say Razor was about average for an adult. Not that it would be impossible to get a good deal bigger than him or even smaller than you, but those cases are rather rare and usually the result of medical conditions. I see. What about colors? Are there many humans who are blue like me? Not really. There's a certain spectrum of skin color that can be lighter or darker, but as far as I've seen, a lot more variety in dragons here. We do have quite a number of different eye colors though. Interesting. As for things that aren't immediately visible, we also have different blood types, but I assume you would know about that. We certainly have those as well. Some people even believe your blood type influences your personality. That, on the other hand, is news to me, and me as well, actually. Anything you want to know? We already got so much, I'll have to think about if and how we can work all this into the game. Have you worked on any other games before? I worked on a few small projects during the course of my studies, and also interned at a studio before. This is on a completely different level though. How so? It's my game, so I'm the one calling the shots here. It's a very different thing than just making a few graphics when you have a bigger team for sure. I see. How long exactly have you been working on this? Phew, must be several months now. I got everything planned out and a lot of the groundwork has already been done. The most difficult things are the characters themselves and to make sure all the details are accurate, of course. Have you shown the game to other people yet? Sure! Feedback is a very important part of the development process, so I regularly gather ideas and opinions from others. I even made a website to do this. And what do they say? All kinds of things, really. Sometimes it's hard to decide which ones have a good point and which ones can be disregarded. Overall, it seems there are many people who are looking forward to playing my game though. How many are we talking about? I don't know exactly. The counter on my website only tracks the number of visits, so I don't actually know how many different people there are. Wherever it doesn't work out. What do you mean? Well, you're investing a certain amount of time and money into making this game. Ideally, you would make back your investment and hopefully get some profit on top of that. If the goal is to make money, sure. However, I just wanted to try my hand at doing something like this. If some people are going to enjoy the end result, that's great. Don't forget that I'll also have made something that I can put on my resume. At the very least, it'll have been a good learning experience. With that attitude, I suppose you really don't have anything to lose. I can always look for another job, and maybe I'll end up working at a game studio. But I think once I've started doing something I like, something like that, I might not get this opportunity again. So it's now or never, huh? In a nutshell, yes. And that all works out with your courier job? Sure, I can support myself this way and I'm not really under any pressure, since I don't have any deadlines to keep. Seems like you know what you're doing. I'd like to think so. What kind of tools are you using to make it? If I consider what some of your species look like, I'm having a hard time imagining how the bigger ones could program a game. But we do have devices tailored to each individual species. I can't deny that my dexterous hands make it a lot easier compared to some of the others. One downside is that I have to keep my nails short, or else using the keyboard gets a bit cumbersome. Tell me about it. I imagine you'd have to be careful with those who are working as a courier anyway. You're right about that. One wrong move and you've suddenly got shredded letter. And you've suddenly shredded the letter you're just going to hand to someone. That sounds unpleasant. You should be more careful. That sounds unpleasant. Luckily that kind of thing doesn't really happen to me anymore. Not only because of the shorter nails, but once you've worked that well, you're just starting to be more careful. It's a bit sad not to have them as a natural letter opener anymore. And it's just not for me. Some people ask me to open the letters for them since doing that on their own can be difficult for some of the less dexterous and older ones. Have you been working as a courier for long? I just got this job a few months ago, but I had a part-time summer job at the post office when I was growing up. My species is perfectly suited for the job, so they were glad to have me on board. I can see why. Of course, being able to fly is a big plus. My size means I can't deliver any big packages, but I often get assigned to urgent letters that have to be delivered as soon as possible. It's getting late. Maybe we should leave it at that for today. Yeah, I should probably head back to my apartment before it gets too dark. I got more than enough material to work with. Thanks a lot. Don't worry about it. I'll just consider it a public service. Honestly, I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity, especially after only getting denied by Sebastian when I met you. Just make the best of it. I certainly will. I really have to get going now, so maybe I'll see you some other time. Sure, have a good night. Take care. Yeah, this episode's running pretty long. Ooh, that's the end of the chapter. Leadership. It's Bryce. Chapter 3. He's not bigger than his picture leads you to believe. His in-game sprite, I guess. Alright. Time to save. Save. Perfect. Alright. So that's it for this episode. I will get started on the next chapter in the next episode. This episode ran a bit longer because I did 2 hangout sessions with 2 dragons there. So thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, hit that like button below and the subscribe button too. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.